National Assembly was working to form a new government. This task was complicated by power struggles among royalists, moderates, and radicals. Most royalists still favored absolute monarchy, but a growing number of moderates wanted the king to share power with the new legislature. Their leader was the Marquis de Lafayette, who had aided the colonies in the American Revolution. A radical group, the Paris Commune, was a group of Paris city government and pushed for an end to the monarchy. Peasant unrest and urban violence finally forced the National Assembly to make reforms. On August 4th, 1789, the nobles in that body voted to end their privileges. In a session lasting until 2 a.m., deputies wept and cheered as the last remains of feudalism in France were destroyed. The nobles gave up feudal dues as well as their exemption from taxation. They also agreed that all male citizens could hold government, army, or church offices. The king refused to accept the new reforms and the Declaration of Rights. This rejection raised the fears of the citizens of Paris that he would take action against the National Assembly. The people wanted Louis to move to Paris from his countryside palace in the town of Versailles to show his support for the Assembly. In October 1789, thousands of women demanding bread marched in the rain to the king's palace in Versailles. Wielding sticks and pitchforks, the angry mob surrounded the palace, shouting for the king and queen. As the cries grew louder and armed guards were not able to hold back the surging crowd, the king declared at last, "Stop! My friends, I will go to Paris with my wife and children." That afternoon, women waving banners and loaves of bread on bayonets surrounded the king's carriage as it drove from Versailles to Paris. In Paris, fervent anti-royalists watched the king, Marie Antoinette, and their 2 children. A few days later, the National Assembly moved to Paris. The National Assembly was facing budget problems. They solved these problems by selling church land. They also made the clergy into elected, salaried positions. This weakened the power of the Catholic Church, and Pope Pius VI condemned the legislation. "I condemn this legislation." A new constitution was presented to the people in 1791. A unicameral, or one-house assembly, was set up, and all members were chosen by voters, who could be all men who paid a minimum tax. "Excuse me, sir, I'd like to register to vote." You're not a man." "Aww." "Excuse me, sir, I'd like to register to vote." "Come on in." "Yes." Louis was forced to accept the limited monarchy established by the Constitution established by the National Assembly. French émigrés tried to help him by convincing other monarchs that they were also threatened by the revolution. "Please, you're in trouble if you don't help him too! Please help!" Meanwhile, French revolutionary leaders, fearing that Austria would try to reinstate Louis, declared war on Austria in 1792. "This means war!" Austria was soon supported by other monarchs, including Prussia and Sardinia.
Midnight. Shoot! Hold on. That has to be redone. There.
Seeking protection, the king and his family fled to the Legislative Assembly. There they were given no protection. Instead, the radicals voted for their imprisonment. "Please, will you help us?" "Oh, sure. Come with me. Here." War threw France into total upheaval. In August 1792, Paris crowds attacked the king's palace and killed many royal guards. A month later, Paris mobs carried out the September massacres, killing imprisoned nobles and priests accused of political crimes. Meanwhile, the radicals took over the assembly and called for a national convention to create a new constitution. They also extended the vote to all males, whether or not they owned property.
A new era had dawned in France, thanks to revolutionary Barbie. Let them eat cake! Be or not to be, that is the question. Come